Welcome, Kingdom citizens, Velocity Banking students, and subscribers. My name is Denzel Rodriguez. To everyone that is new here, welcome. I am your personal finance geek of the 21st century, and today we're going to be talking about how to leverage the CARES Act, specifically regarding the advantages that we now have with our 401ks. So for those of you who have been looking at the velocity banking concept, the infinite banking concept, you are on a financial journey to pay off all your debt, to become debt free and build wealth, right? And build that big, beautiful kingdom for your family. We may have a one-time opportunity over the next, I'm assuming, couple weeks or months, maybe not that long of a period, but we do have an opportunity to borrow money from a qualified retirement account under this CARES Act with some advantages. So without any further ado, let's go right into the lesson. Like I always say on this YouTube channel, you must first know your four major numbers before we start talking about any financial plan whatsoever, whether you're doing debt snowball, debt avalanche, whatever other concept is out there when it comes to paying off debt, velocity banking, infinite banking, all that good stuff, 10x, right? You got to know your four major numbers. What are your four major numbers? Your monthly net income after taxes, your total expenses, everything that leaves your checking account, total expenses, total debt, and your leftover cash flow, money that is left over after you have paid all your bills and your debt payments and saving and investing, what's left over, cash flow, okay? So let's assume that you know your four major numbers, you are doing velocity banking, you have been doing it, or maybe you're in the infinite banking side of things, and you have a pre-existing asset such as a 401k. Now, I've done some homework, watched some videos, read some paperwork, some articles. Everybody seems to be saying the same thing regarding these details right here regarding when you take out a 401k loan or a withdrawal. So, some of the things that I found is that you can take out a loan up to $100,000 if you have that much money in there or more, obviously. But you can take up to 100K. There's no penalty tax, that 10% tax, right, for early withdrawal. There's no penalty. You have repayment options, such as a one lump sum, right, or monthly payments. So you don't get penalized for prepaying, right? Say you take the money out, you go do it and pay it back within 6 months. There's no prepayment penalties. Or if you took the money out and you didn't pay it for like 6 months, you have some options on the table, okay? You have the ability to spread the tax liability, and I'm assuming this is for the individuals that take out a withdrawal, because you don't pay tax when you take out a loan, right? Loans don't get taxed. But if you take out a withdrawal, then technically that is, or a distribution, right, is the word, then that is, a taxable event. Well, you can spread that tax liability over 3 years. So if I took out 100 grand, I can do a third, and a third, right? So pay tax on a third of that money in 2020, another third in 2021, another third in 2022. When you take out a loan, from what I've read so far, and I think it's important that you do the same research, just look up the CARES Act and go right to maybe some articles, or go right to the bill itself and see if you can find it's a big bill. But you can see if you can find some details regarding where people are getting this information in the first place. But the next thing is you can defer payments up to 12 months. This is very interesting in the velocity banking world. When I see defer or no payments, I'm thinking, is there any interest being calculated? If not, then I have an interest-free loan with no payments. I could possibly leverage this money to, do some moves here to increase cash flow and then pay that back when it's due. So you can defer payments up to 12 months. And then again, for people that take out a distribution, they waive the 20% federal tax I'm assuming that first year. Don't know how it would work if you were to spread that liability over 3 years. So there is some questions that I don't have all the answers to just yet. But the way that I'm looking at it so far is if I can take out a loan with no payments for 12 months and no interest being calculated during that time, what I have here is an interest-free line of credit temporarily for, I don't know, a max of 12 months. What I have here in my mind is sort of like a 0% credit card that I can do a balance transfer and pay no fee to transfer that money to do what? Pay off a debt, increase cash flow, build credit, lower expenses, build my kingdom. So coming over to this side, the way I would leverage this if I had a 401k, or for my clients that would like to have a phone call, I've already been talking to some of my clients already regarding this strategy. But for those that haven't reached out to me yet, hey, this might be something to look into. I do believe we have a window period, so might want to take action if you feel like you need to do it or think it could benefit you in some way. So some of the things that come to mind simply is if I have an interest-free loan, no payments, and I can borrow up to 100 grand, I can either use that money to pay off debt, acquire a debt tool, maybe a line of credit or a HELOC. Maybe better for a HELOC for a person who has a home, I could probably throw up to 100 grand, let's just say, not the whole amount, but maybe a portion on my property, and then pull the equity out of it in the form of a HELOC and start doing velocity banking now that I have a debt tool. That's one option. Another one is to pay off an existing 401k loan. Let's say you have a loan outstanding on your 401k, and now they're opening up the window for you to take out more money. Maybe we could take out the same amount that you owe on a pre-existing 401k loan to pay that loan back and have no payments and no interest calculated on that money. And then that cash flow that you're no longer being charged to the 401k, we can use that cash flow for a 12-month period to maybe pay off another debt, to increase our cash flow further, and then come right back around with a line of credit 12 months later and boom, pay back the line of credit. Now that's done. The original 401k loan is done. The new 401k loan is done. I paid off more debts in the process, got my cash flow, got a line of credit, and we're making moves. If I'm talking too fast, it's probably because you're new. But for those who have been watching me for a while, you're like, your mind is racing already. You're like sending me an email right now as you watch this video, more than likely. And the last thing obviously is invest somewhere else. Maybe I could take that money and flip it. I can maybe take that 100K and make it 300K within 3 years or less, and then put the original 100K back with no tax whatsoever. One of the details that I left out on this is that if you were to, I guess, take a distribution and then paid whatever you took out up to the 100K within a 3-year period, then you could, I'm assuming, amend your taxes and not pay any tax whatsoever. So if done properly, I could borrow and pay no tax whatsoever by putting the money back in full within 3 years. So that could be another strategy as well. And that is very attractive in the velocity banking, infinite banking world. Speaking about the infinite banking world, I could use up to 100K or whatever amount I come up with to maybe max fund my existing policy, right? If I have an IBC policy in place already, I could potentially use it to max fund my existing policy, maybe do some makeup contributions and then borrow from it to pay off debt, to then increase cash flow, to then 12 months later paying myself back if I took out a loan. Or if I took out a distribution, I got 3 years to pay no taxes whatsoever. So we've got some options on the table here. Very, very interesting stuff. So here's a quick little example that I want to see if this would make sense to you. And we're going to run some other just quick examples, just thoughts for you to run with in your mind And when you're ready, you can reach out to me. If you're an existing client, be happy to, go over this with you. If you're brand new, maybe this is an opportunity for us to work together, right? Maybe you can use a portion of that money to sign up for some one-on-one consulting, and we can get this thing rocking and rolling. So let's just say, for example, I don't know, I took out 50K from my 401k, dumped it into my home as a principal payment, so that brings down, right, the amount owed on the house goes down, the amount of interest I save. Let's say I'm in my 5th year of my mortgage on a 30-year, and I throw 50K into the thing. My God, I might save 50K in interest, or even more than that potentially, right? So we've got some things that are happening right here, right? So my balance lowers, I save a bunch of money on interest, right? And then what I could do is simply pull that money back out in the form of a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, not a home equity loan, but a home equity line of credit that's revolving, that's calculated average daily interest with maybe a 10-year draw period at max, right? Or even longer than that, with a great interest rate, especially in the low interest rate environment that we're in right now, somewhere below 5%. And if I have this now debt tool, right? So the first thing that occurred for anyone that is new or existing, what just occurred is if I take 50K from an asset that's charging me no payments and no interest. So no monthly payment, no interest, say for 12 months like it says over here, right? So I got this free money technically. This is money that is supposed to be for my future. I am now using it for the present to better my future, is one argument. Another person might say, you're borrowing from your future, you're not going to have one later. That may not be true if we do this properly. So if I take from my future 50K, that's the first thing that occurred, 0 monthly payments, 0 interest, no payments whatsoever for a period of time. I dump it into an asset, right? Well, my house is technically not an asset just yet until I own it. So we can just save the technical stuff for later, but let's just say I put this 50K into this home. I now have consolidated debt to over here. I've removed 50K of principal off my mortgage and saved a ton of money on interest. And I have shifted 50K over here. How much debt am I still in? The same amount. Let's not get ourselves confused, okay? So if you owed 400K originally and you dump 50 in, now you owe 450K. But you now have a loan against your future money for 50K. How much debt are you in? 400,000, right? What am I doing? 350K. Thanks for spotting that error. 350K on the home, 50K on the 401k loan. You're still in debt 400K. What is the difference between the person that does nothing versus the person that does do something with this leveraged money for this one-time opportunity? Is the interest that the individual will pay over the lifetime of that person, right? So yes, I'm still in debt 400,000. But now the 400,000 that I'm in debt, being that I shifted from one location to another, I save a significant amount of interest, so I would get out of debt faster than the person that has the same amount of debt as me that did nothing with the money. They kept the money over there for the future and they kept living their life, okay? The person that keeps living their life and takes no action will get out of debt. It would take them longer to get out of debt versus the person that is going to leverage debt, good debt, to pay off bad debt. Obviously, someone can make the argument that there is no such thing as good debt and bad debt. There's just debt. Debt is debt. Well, unfortunately, in the 21st century, I wish I could agree with you that debt is debt, but that is not the case in the 21st century. Under the US government, debt is no longer debt. You have good debt, you have bad debt, you have debt that pays you money for life. So there are different forms of debt now that most people are not aware of, which keeps you in the dark. If we are to truly understand how debt works, we must follow and listen to what the wealthy people are doing, like our good Lord directs us to do in the Bible. He specifically recommends and tells us, go and make friends of the wealthy. Okay? You can find the scripture in Luke, I believe. Okay, Luke 2:18 maybe, I think. I forget. But it's in there. Okay? And it's very specific that Jesus specifically said that his own people, the children of light, are not good managers, right? So, of this world. They're not good managers of this world. So in order to be a good manager of this world, you must look to someone who has managed resources very well in this world. You cannot look to someone that is of equal level in terms of monetary in your household, let's say, in your acquaintances, your coworkers, your friends. They may not have the advice or the recommendations that you need in order to build that big, beautiful kingdom that we're talking about. Recommendation? Follow the rich. Listen to the financial news, see what they are doing, so that you may take advantage of a crisis. What does a crisis mean? A crisis is an opportunity according to the Japanese people. So, think like the Japanese. Crisis means opportunity. Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity to take massive action to achieve the results that you want to achieve so that you become a good steward over your money. Coming back to the example here, now that we went off on a little rant, just to remind you, I took $50K from an asset from the future to pay down an existing, let's just say, asset for right now, home. I knock the balance that I owe now. I save a ton of money on interest. I now create instant equity in the property and say I borrow against my existing property, right? I take out a HELOC for somewhere around the amount that I dumped in, potentially, depending on what I need, depending on my four major numbers. Check this out. I get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, and I can use it to maybe pay off another debt. So what just happened, ladies and gentlemen? We got money being used once to take it out. Second time, the money goes in the home, pays down a debt, saves a bunch of money in interest, same 50K. Same 50K then gets stripped out into what's called the HELOC, so it's a third usage, right? I now leverage that money again for a fourth time. So I want to ask you a question. Can you use $1 more than once? $1. Is that possible for you to use $1 more than once? Can that be done? If so, we're on the same page. If you think that is not the case, you are still living in the 70s, my friend, or the 60s, where $1 actually meant $1 because it was backed up by gold. It is no longer backed up by gold, so therefore it is a fiat, a fake money, play money, phony money, funny money, right? Money. It don't really mean or have any value whatsoever. It's just based off your word. The U.S. government's word as the world reserve currency for however long that may be. We don't know. Anyways, so I got 1 usage, 2, 3, and then coming over here to 4th, where we now take out a transfer, we do a withdrawal out of my HELOC, and maybe I pay off a car right here. Say I owe 20K on it, and I was paying $545 a month, and the interest rate was 6%, let's just say. So I do what's called a chunk, right? Out of my HELOC, I take out a lump sum of money to my checking account. My checking account then pays off this car that I owe $20,000 on. So now I got the deed to the car. Now I own it. It's mine. All right. By the way, how much debt am I still in? $400,000. Nothing changed, but everything changed, right? I'm still in debt $400,000, but this example right here, the person that is utilizing this now pumped money into the system, into their economy, into their household, is now going to get out of debt. Remember the original intention for people, for you watching that want to become debt-free? The intention is to become debt-free, right? How do I do that in the 21st century? There are so many concepts and so many different strategies, and everybody is a guru, and everybody is an expert, and everybody is right. Everybody has the right answer. Nobody's wrong, right? Everybody's right all the time. They just want to be right. Well, how do you find the right answer in a right environment where everybody's right, right? Someone's got to be wrong. Someone's got to be right. Someone's got to be wrong. How can I, as a human being with free will and a free mind, navigate through the noise and find truth in the pudding? Okay? So, coming back, I now take $20,000 out of this HELOC, right? So technically I now owe $350K on the home. I owe $50K on the loan. I owe $20,000 over here on the HELOC, right? But the debt, the money that I just threw the $20,000 at, is now gone. So I'm still in debt, $400,000, technically. But homeboy saves a bunch of money over here. Homeboy saved a bunch of money over here on interest. And there is a cash flow gain of $545 that's on the table to help me pay back the HELOC in a very short period of time. So now that this debt is gone, this 545 is now going to start showing up in my checking account on a monthly basis, right? Because it's no longer leaving. So therefore, it's increasing that monthly cash flow. And then what do? When I receive this bad boy over here, income, it all lands into the checking account. Before I pay any of my bills and expenses, I send all that income to the HELOC. So say I make $6K a month, and I was originally cash flowing $2,000. Well, now I'm up $2,545. So this $6K is now going to all be in this HELOC. So instead of owing $20,000, I now owe $14,000 for a period of time. Over the next 30 days after originally doing the first move, over 30 days, I'm going to withdraw money little by little, day by day, as needed to pay expenses from the checking account. Nothing changed. I keep paying my bills like I normally do. It's just coming out of the HELOC first manually into the checking account. And I pay these bills. And so here's what's happening now. So just to recap, $50K from the loan, went on the home. Knocked my home from 4 to 350. I then, within a month, got a HELOC for, say, 50K. I took 20,000 out, paid off a car, saved thousands on interest on the car, and now have $545 less of bills, so cash flow gain. That cash flow plus existing cash flow plus all income goes into the HELOC. Then on a day-to-day basis, I take money out as needed to pay bills from my checking account. So I'm making a transfer, right? So money's going in, money's coming out. I pay my bill. I do this for about 6 to 9 months at max, or until the HELOC hits a zero balance where I pay it off, right? And I've now reduced my debt faster than the original person that does nothing with their money. They keep it separate. They keep the money for the future and they keep doing their life with 6K and 2K left over, and they send the 2 towards the home, or they send the 2 towards the car, right? How long would it take them to pay off a $20,000 debt with an extra $2,000 in cash flow per month? However long that takes, I beat them in the form of 1 month. I wipe it out in 1 month, and then it takes the HELOC probably less than 6 months to zero that out, right? Because now I got the cash flow gain immediately, whereas this person would not have the cash flow gain until after, say, the same amount of time, 6 months or 9 months, 10 months, whatever it is. The difference between the two is the interest that the individual will pay. It's not necessarily that one has more money than the other. It's just one person gets the money faster than the other. That's what's happening when we're doing what you would call velocity banking, debt acceleration, paycheck parking, whatever term you want to give it. Hey, I don't mind. Call it debt snowball. It's all the same to me. The only difference is the speed at which your money is moving. So velocity, hence the word, right? So, got some interesting things going on here, right? A lot of moves. Can it be confusing? Yes. Is it difficult? Yes. Is it going to take time? Yes. Is it going to take discipline? Yes. Focus? Yes. A teacher? Yes. Right? Someone to walk you, help you along the way? Yes. Can't quit. Stay focused. In the game, you'll make it happen. You'll make it happen. So check this out. Look what we got going on. This is interesting. I'm using money at 0%, no payments, for at least 12 months, right? Whatever the payments end up being, I would pay it for whatever the period is that we set it up for. Doesn't matter, because when I take out money out of a 401k loan, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but when I do a 401k loan, whatever the interest rate is on the 50, I'll offset it by the amount of money that's growing in the account, right? Because technically I'm doing a collateral loan. I'm collateralizing the money that's in the account, and the institution that's holding my 401k loan gives me 50 grand of their money. Is that true? Someone help me with that? Not sure. I believe it's true. I take out 50K. I don't lose the money that's in the 401k originally. It keeps growing, but whatever the gains are pretty much is going to get offset by the interest I pay myself back on, to a degree, as long as the market, I guess, stays up in a sense. But someone can correct me on that. You let me know. So in a nutshell, we got multiple moves here going on. The goal is to get out of debt faster. The goal is to take advantage of the system of an opportunity. This is the same thing that the wealthy are doing, but instead of paying off debt, these people are investing somewhere else. They're putting their money in other assets. They're acquiring debt. They're not trying to pay off debt. They're probably acquiring more debt because they know that debt's going to pay them the money. So let me know what you think about this scenario here. The tools, the advantages, all the information that I laid out on how to leverage the CARES Act. That was just one example. I'll most likely be posting more down the line because I'm going to have clients that most likely take advantage of this opportunity, which you would call a crisis, but I'm looking at it and my clients are looking at it as an opportunity, and I think you should do the same. Remember to look at the descriptions below in my links and to reach out to me, whether it's to send a message, let me know how I'm doing. You want to sign up for some coaching one-on-one, I'd be happy to help you. I'm your personal finance geek of the 21st century. My goal is to get the information to you so you can take action. We primarily want to pay off debt on this channel, become completely debt-free, transfer over from the E and the S side to the B and the I, business owner, investor, build a big, beautiful kingdom with God's influence wrapped all around it. Sprinkle some gold and silver, and you're on your merry way. I also hope that you all stay safe, stay healthy, and I can't wait for this whole quarantine shutdown to be over because I'm turning into the Wolverine right now. As you can see, this is looking bad. I need a haircut, kid. My name is Denzel Rodriguez. I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.